Well, yes, we're now being joined by Mr. Laolu Akande, who is a former presidential aide and also the anchor of Inside Sources here at Channels Television. You're welcome to Sunrise Daily this morning.
Good morning, Mark. Good to see you.
Well, this is, quite a number of things to really look at. When you look at our policy, it looks like the more things change, the more they remain the same. But clearly, we are in the political season.
Yeah, clearly.
We didn't want to acknowledge it. Yes. We didn't want to acknowledge it, but it looks like the politicians have forced us there. And they keep making utterances, around the things that we sometimes think is settled. And all of a sudden, someone brings up another perspective.
Yeah.
Only recently, for those who have been watching what has been happening in the polity, we heard, because we just celebrated June 12, Democracy Day, and the president was at the National Assembly, giving an address, and people thought, okay, maybe we might see a new tradition of presidents addressing the National Assembly, since we do not have a State of the Union address, as it were, and we do not have any other formal engagement where the president actually speaks to the National Assembly, apart from when he goes to present a budget. So maybe that might evolve into something. But while the president was doing that, other things were coming out about his credentials on June 12. And then we started to hear things like, oh, he actually supported the annulment of the June 12 elections. Oh, did you know that his mother, supported, those kinds of things. I'm just a little curious. What did you make of those assertions by the former governor of Jigawa State?
Okay. Thank you for that question. I think that what is happening is just the reflection of the kind of politics that we have always played in Nigeria, where the personal interest is overly, imposed on the polity. Okay. Now, I was a reporter, and I covered the whole election right from before and after, up until 1998 when I left the country. What happened essentially was that, look, it got to a point in after the annulment. First of all, I don't think it's right to say that Bola Ahmed Tinubu supported the annulment. There's essentially no information in the public space, no credible information in the public place to say that Tinubu supported the annulment of June 12. So I don't know what... I
think it was the first time, too, that a lot of people were hearing that particular assertion.
So I don't think that assertion is right. However, what Nigerians must understand is exactly what happened and the pattern of its occurrence. So after the annulment of June 12, the President Babangida, instituted interim national government. Abacha took over from the interim national government. Abacha spoke to the people in SDP, the people around MKO, using people like Oladipo Dia, who was his deputy, to say that, look, let's work together. So the impression was built, some kind of agreement was built, and the expectation was that Abacha would turn it over to MKO, to the extent that MKO was involved in the selection of cabinet members for Abacha. And so you had people like Latif Jakande, Ebenezer Babatope, and quite a few of them. I'm not sure whether Siroma was also involved. I have to check. But there were, the expectation was that Abacha would hand it over. Now, that was when you saw the current president going with MKO to the Dam Barracks, and met with Sonny Abacha, and the photo is all over the place. Okay? So, at that point, everybody, or most of the people, we're saying that, okay, look, let's give Abacha a chance, let's work with him, he will turn it over to us. You understand? That was what happened. And so, you can't say that that is the basis of somebody supporting annulment. No, maybe they were wrong, but the turning point for me was when it was now clear, that Abacha was not going to do any of such thing, that Abacha was actually going to stick in, and he wanted to stay, and Afenifere and all the other leaders, all the people that came together to say that let's give him a chance, with some objections from members of the civil society, people like Ganifa Emi and Femi Falana Beko. They now said that, look, now that it is clear that Abacha is not going to turn this thing over to us, let all our people who went into government for Abacha come out. Now, that is the turning point. Some of the guys did not come out. I think most of them did not come out. Those are the people that you can then accuse, in my view, of supporting, those anti-democratic stuff. And again, you can't find Bola Ahmed Tinubu in that group. Bola Ahmed Tinubu was actually one of those who actively funded NADECO and the activities that now took place after it was clear that Abacha was not going to turn it over to Abiola and the rest of them. But it's also true that the president was interested. When all those negotiations were going on, the president was interested to possibly become, administrator of Lagos or deputy administrator of Lagos or possibly something. That's also true. As a matter of fact, Kola Abiola had already said that. But you cannot use that to say that he opposed he supported the annulment. No, because all of them thought that, look, let's work with Abacha. It was after Abacha did not deliver and then they were asked to come out, those who went in, that was the turning point.
Well, I do think that there's some material out on June 12,
right.
But someone will ask whether it is sufficient, whether we've broken it down enough. Because sometimes when we talk about June 12, because the reason why such a controversy will even come up, and I think Mr. Bayo Onanuga has also responded from the presidency saying that this is an attempt at revisionism, I think that's the word he used. I have to find the actual phrase. But the reason why allegations like this can come up will be because a lot of people are not very aware. June 12, they just assume, oh, okay, elections were annulled.
30 years
exactly. It's over 30 years, and you have people who, since the democracy started, who are now old enough, more than old enough to vote. As a matter of fact, they should be in their first jobs.
Right.
If not the second one.
People were born then.
Yes, at that time. So, do you think that that's because we haven't exactly broken it down to to the generality of the people, to help them understand? If we're told that about 70% of our population is under the age of 30, do you think that we've done well breaking it down for them to understand why it is now that today, June 12, is now Democracy Day, and what we're really talking about? Yeah.
So you're right, Mark. That is what has to happen in terms of teaching the political history of our country. I do know that some might say that maybe 30 years is not even long enough, to discuss history. But I think that must go with the age, not with the current age. This is an information age.
Indeed.
The frequency of communication is so quick and so immediate now that you can't wait for too long.
But attention span too is also very short.
So we should be teaching June 12 as a major aspect of the history of Nigeria, especially the evolution of our democratic journey. And we have not done a good job of it, which is why we are also trying to call the attention of the president that, look, you cannot say that the federal government is granting, is giving honor to people who played important roles, and you are leaving out the name of Adekunle Ajasin. Adekunle Ajasin was the chairman of NADECO. And then you are leaving out the name of Ayo Okpadokun. Ayo Okpadokun was the general secretary of NADECO. And you are leaving out the name of Babafemi Ojodu. Babafemi Ojodu he went to jail several times. So if you gave it to Bayo Onanuga, you must give it to Babafemi Ojodu. And we said to the president, Mr. President, this is not it's not a private you're not dashing out private awards. No, you are there. You are representing. As president, you are the totality of who we have been and who have become, and you speak for all of us. Even if those guys are no longer your men Friday, they used to be. You must still recognize the roles that they played. And that's why we're calling his attention that, look, this June 12 honors has to be done more comprehensively and more fairly.
Well, Mr. Kayode Fayemi also, spoke, Dr. Kayode Fayemi also
Dr. Fayemi too, who was the face of the Kudirat radio abroad.
He also spoke and said that, that list certainly wasn't complete.
So it's part of how to teach the history of this country and the history of June 12 properly. And I think we still have to do quite a few things. I think we should have to do a truth commission that brings out all all the things that we now know and those that we don't know. For instance, Babangida has now said, oh yes, you know, this was what happened. There are also those who have other views. As a people, we need to know what is the truth and the whole truth. And then that is what we teach. We haven't really arrived at that. Many people think that, well, look, so Babangida says that, okay, it was Abacha that caused the annulment, you know, and then, you know, some people are saying that, oh, Mr. President, Mr. President Babangida, is that the whole truth? There are people who know the whole truth. We can find out.
And then we also heard the voice of Miriam Abacha, you know, shortly after that, saying, oh, everyone can hang everything now on a dead man. Well, it is what it is. Mr. Laolu, I wish that we had a little more time, but clearly work on June 12 is not done. I think that the opportunity that June 12 every year presents, you know, as the anniversary approaches, marking our new Democracy Day, might also be another opportunity for us to correct certain things and make great progress in terms of the education that we give our young ones. We have to say thank you very much for coming on Sunrise Daily. Mr. Laolu Akande is a former presidential spokesperson and also the anchor of Channel Television's Inside Sources. Well, that's where we wrap up today's program. We have to thank you for being such wonderful company. I'm Maokwe Ogun Yusuf.
And I'm Ayo Makine. Enjoy the rest of your day.